From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm David Forrest reporting. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says his government is in nuclear talks with 6 nations and not with U.S. lawmakers. In a speech in the city of Rasht, Mr. Rouhani said he will not sign any agreement unless all sanctions are lifted. Mr. Rouhani's remarks were an apparent reaction to developments Tuesday in Washington, where President Barack Obama pledged to sign a bill that would subject the agreement to U.S. congressional review. Witnesses say Islamic State fighters have captured territory outside the capital of Iraq's Anbar province. In an offensive that began at dawn, the militants seized 3 villages near the provincial capital of Ramadi. Today, President Obama said the fight against Ebola is progressing in 3 West African nations, but he said the nations of the world should not be complacent.
We can't be complacent. This virus is unpredictable. We have to be vigilant, and the international community has to remain fully engaged in a partnership with these 3 countries until there are no cases of Ebola in these countries.
President Obama met with 3 leaders of the West African nations where the Ebola virus was hardest hit today in Washington. The al-Qaeda branch in Yemen says a U.S. drone strike has killed the group's top cleric. Ibrahim al-Rubaish, a Saudi national, joined al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula after being released from the U.S. prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, in 2006. This is VOA News. A 61-year-old mailman from Ruskin, Florida, is under arrest for illegally landing a small one-man helicopter on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol in Washington. Capitol Police have not identified the suspect, but the Tampa Bay Times newspaper says he is Doug Hughes. The paper's Ben Montgomery says Hughes wanted to bring attention to campaign finance reform and what he says is government corruption.
He wanted to turn America's attention towards this very boring topic with the idea that it's super important and, getting dirty money out of government, limiting campaign donations, that kind of thing.
The Tampa newspaper reports Hughes wanted to deliver letters to 535 members of Congress. The European Union is accusing Google of abusing its dominant position in Internet searches and violating the EU antitrust laws. EU Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager says Google has systematically favored its own comparison shopping product in its general search results pages, stifling competition.
Google's comparison shopping product is systematically displayed prominent at the top of the search results. This display is irrespective of whether it is the most relevant response to the query.
The company says Internet users have numerous ways to search for information and that allegations of harm to consumers and competitors have proven to be false. The European Central Bank chief said Wednesday there is clear evidence its stimulus program is boosting the economic fortunes of the 19-nation euro currency bloc. Bank President Mario Draghi said the Eurozone's economy has gained further momentum since the end of last year and expects the recovery to broaden and strengthen substantially. A series of economic reports published Wednesday paint a mixed picture of the U.S. economy. U.S. industrial production slowed in March as low oil prices discourage drilling. Another survey shows growing confidence among U.S. home builders who expect relatively low interest rates and an improving job market to help home sales. A third economic study shows the U.S. economy expanding at a modest pace across most of the nation. More economic news. China's economy grew at its slowest pace in 6 years last quarter, according to data released Wednesday, raising concern over the condition of the world's second largest economy. Growth declined to 7% in the first quarter of 2015. That's down 7.3% from the previous quarter. That's the slowest quarterly growth rate since early 2009. From the VOA News Center in Washington, I'm David Forrest.
That's the latest world news from VOA.